Hello. I'm going to talk about how we did a how we did a new format for our annual and regular meetings with patients, caregivers, families, get together with doctors, and also our association. Basically, we had a problem with issues. We had some issues with previous meetings. This is a little bit of the agenda. What I'm gonna about to present, and the main issue was that we felt had the feeling that there was a little bit of distance that patients felt from caregivers and doctors, because it was this format where the doctors, the professionals, talk on a stage, and then yes, of course, there's some time for questions and for ask Q&A, but people felt a little bit uh, distance, and the attendance to the meeting start to decrease. We felt that people were less and less people were attending to the meetings, and of course, with that, we thought about trying something different. And I mean, it's not that innovative, but we just decided to ask to our community, okay, what do you want? What do you need? What are your concerns? What do you want to talk about in our conference? And we ran a little online survey, and it also was very useful because it also got a sense of knowing our community better, and especially knowing the people that are more engaged, because people who answer a survey is a little bit more engaged and more interesting than people that do not answer the survey. This was the results mainly for our community, and I'm pretty sure, if I take a wild guess, that it's going to be very similar in our patient associations. Most of them are people that have a child, at least one child with NF1. About 30% were people affecting themselves with NF, and a small percentage, there are people who has NF and also a child with NF1. Those are roughly the percentage. As you can see, the main people are 38 to 54 years old, and we have a shortage on people from 18 to 34 years, which is one of my goals, covering and making this percentage go up. We now have Laura, which is very lucky to find her. And finally, according to the online survey, what we ran, a little bit of closed options, and they have to choose what was more important to them, which was also insightful, because we could compare the answers and cross it if they had children, if not, and the ages to see which the more relevant topics according to different sets of people. And then we also had the possibility to write any questions that were later passed on to the doctors and practitioners, and gave us a sense on what the talks could be. And those were the talks. We arranged the talks in a way, those were the four main topics, and we arranged them in a way that people that got interest in something that those talks don't happen at the same time. We scheduled two different sets of talks, and typically most of the people were interested in the topics that they were not at the same time. So one topic at 11, the other at 12, so people could attend it. And we also got a separate group of young adults in order to have a little workshop, a little participatory workshop in accordance to see what are the needs, what are the challenges, what they need to be assessed. And what we did, we divided the workshop into different stages. The first one being, okay, what are you concerned about? How is your lived experience? How is your experience having NF1? Which challenge have you faced? What is more interesting to you? And when they generally express it, these concerns, the genetic assessment when it comes, to wanting to having children and starting to form a family, and maybe people that are in early stages of their life. They talk about learning difficulties and how, to manage through high school, through university, through different stages of how it's sometimes difficult for them that teachers trust them and says, okay, yes, you do have a condition, you do need some support, and how is also it's more difficult, of course, so when you are advancing in your educational or career to have adaptation when it's needed. And then social partner and communicative skills, they go a little bit together. People have low self-esteem, low confidence when it comes, to flirt, to going party, talk to this girl, talk to this guy, be seductive, etc. And they express concerns about it. And then, of course, in the second part of the workshop, we came up together with a few solutions that was, of course, be trained in NF1 to be more knowledgeable about the disease, to do something similar about the academy that it's done by NFPU, improvement of social skills in order to gain self-confidence, self-trust, um, and also the academic adaptation for students came a lot, and they suggested they had a few suggestions for this matter, and they also suggested about sharing experience with our patients at different levels. On one side, they had, okay, we should make like age group in order to mean acquaintances, people that has our age, people we can talk to with confidence and with trust that they have experienced the same issues than us. They also thought that, okay, that it could be cool maybe if a young person, someone that is in their 20s, became some sort of a mentor, of a tutor, of an adolescent in F1. So he can give some advice. Yes, this also happened to me, and I did this thing. Or no, this didn't happen to me, but I would recommend you to do this other thing. They also expressed at some point training for the fathers, especially of people who are in their 70s, 18s, 19s, like they want, okay, yes, mama, papa, you've been very helpful, but now I want to do kind of my own, to train the fathers how to deal with people, with kids and adolescents and young adults with NF1. And and finally, a little bit of wrap up of the patient needs and concerns that we detected at this conference. That basically it's been that there's a desire for reducing the gap, with doctors and patients and families, because, as I said at the beginning, doctor is at the stage, and sometimes people, especially because how stage is designed, when people is up and the other ones are down, and this distance is kind of felt. There's also desire, especially in young adults and people, to have a feeling that they want to have more controls, more sessions, not only once a year, because they felt more secure having more controls, more visits with the doctor. And of course, continue organizing these kind of talks, increasing the frequency, maybe, and helping youngsters and teenagers to manage with daily perspective of life, which is kind of what's starting to be done a couple of years ago with the NFPO Patients Academy. And that would be pretty much all. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer it.